Hello, welcome to another first appearance rating video. First up, you know, when I first started to buy comic books in 1981, there was not many first appearances in the first year that I can remember. Certainly nothing that make an impression that that was noticeable even back then. I was a young collector, pretty excited about everything, but for sure, nothing really jumped out in my memory except for this book. This book came out, for those that watch enough of my video, I started collect X-Men on issue 155. Here's my copy I bought off the rack. When 164 came out and I saw this beautiful looking cover by Dave Cockrum, it certainly made an impression. It's the first time that I can remember seeing, a new character. Wow. Of course, back then I knew nothing about Carol Danvers, so I did not know her existence or Captain Marvel or any of that. I didn't know anything, but the story of this is, of course, the continuation of the Brood storyline. I like the Brood storyline, even though it's somewhat of a rip off of Aliens, but I love Aliens so much that I did not mind. I remember when the Brood storyline first came out, I finally got a chance to watch Alien, the first Alien on HBO or something like that, and it made an impression on how awesome that monster was. So as far as the Brood storyline, it was cool with me that they rip it off. But this character is, Carol Danvers. The story, I give it the story a 3. Like I said, it's a good story. Certainly, it's not nowhere near other great X-Men storylines of the Bronze Age. But it was interesting enough with the Brood, and of course, the Brood is responsible for changing Carol into this character. As far as the name binary, it didn't make sense to me. Even then, back then, I'm trying to understand like why binary. But I like the look. Okay, name aside, I like the look. I'm always partial to this kind of look, red, flaming. That's why I like Fire Lord. So the look alone get a 3.5. The name, I wish it was different, but that's fine. Power, certainly she's very powerful. So 6.5. 3.5 for the name, the look, the power, and the story is a 3. It's an interesting continuation to the Brood saga. Okay, and I don't know what happened to this character. Certainly, she appeared in other mutant title, but knowing that Carol Danvers is no longer binary, something must have happened to her during the years that I left the hobby. So binary came and went. Next up, let's go with a Silver Age character. One of my favorite Fantastic Four Silver Age cover. Maybe not for other people, but I just love this look. Maybe I give a closer look at the end of the video. Attuma. Cool name, Attuma. Cool name, good look. I love the way Kirby drew funky, cool looking helmet on many Atlanteans, and no doubt Attuma have a cool looking helmet on his head, but it disappointed me with the power. He's another, a simple storyline. Here's another character that I think Kirby and Stan need to introduce somebody that want to vie for the control and power of Atlantis. So Attuma, he's very similar to Submariner in power. He certainly doesn't have anything that's unique enough that worth mentioning. Certainly not enough in this issue to know. Maybe in his later appearances, we learn more of his other powers, whatever they are, that are unique. But as far as in this book, he's just another guy that power hungry, that want to take control. And the story get a 3.5. Typical Silver Age, Fantastic Four. It's not one of the more exciting one. I think 3.5 out of 5 is generous as far as story. The art inside is pretty awesome. I definitely need to show the inside of this book. But as far as Attuma, I gave him reluctantly 3.5 out of 5 for his look, his name, his appearances, his power. That is also generous. A 7 out of 10 is a generous rating for this book. Because maybe I'm biased to the beautiful cover and the look. But as far as Attuma himself, I wish he was more powerful. I wish he has different power, something that make him much more difficult for Submariner to deal with, and less reliance on him to use other participants to help him win over control of Atlantis. Okay, stick around if you want to see the inside of that book. Last but not least for this video is the lowest rating for this first appearance video. Jack of Heart appear in Deadly Hand of Kung Fu 23. Jack of Heart. The name is okay, but to me it's almost like a character that doesn't really fit to be introduced in this title. How he got his power, his origin is explained here. He show up right off the bat. I will show the inside of this too. It have one of the hidden gem Gil Kane art inside. You don't see Gil Kane doing a lot of work for this title, but for this issue he did. Often you see George Perez doing the work for the White Tiger storylines. But he show up, want to avenge his father's death and blaming White Tiger for that, and it didn't make any sense. And then they go into the backstory of how his father was killed, how he got his power, and how he chose the name Jack of Heart, because that his father liked to play card, and he saw the card, and how he put together the costume. I mean, it felt so compressed, so short, so brief, so haphazard put together as far as the story, his origin, trying to fit it all in a few pages, and I didn't like it. Well, I didn't hate it, but to me it's just like make no sense. The story didn't really make much sense to me. And then when I show you the inside of this book, you will see that as he was fighting White Tiger and they were falling off the building, crashing, he was still blaming White Tiger for his father's death and want to avenge his father's death. But by the time they landed and crashed on the car below, he changed his mind. What? Like I said, to me it's a poorly written story. The story get a 2 out of 5 for me. I did not like it. I didn't think that it fit the mold of what this book is about. Perhaps introduce him in other titles would make more sense. The look is okay. I give the look an F. Jack of Heart, the look, get a 2 out of 5. It does not excite me. I have never liked his look, even in black and white. In colors, he, like I said, sure, he looked a lot like a Jack of Hearts in the playing card. From neck up, I like the look, and then the whole outfit. It's to me it looks silly. It's definitely not one of the better creation of the Bronze Age, in my opinion. I have no idea what he is today, but I'm not a big fan of Jack of Hearts. So overall, 4 out of 10, a very low rating for me for this character. Not a big fan, but the art is good enough that I will show you the inside of this book for those that are a fan of Gil Kane. That's it. That's the end of the video for those that don't want to stick around. Thanks for watching. Bye. Okay, so here's the interior of the Deadly Hands of Kung Fu magazine, and right off the bat you can see Jack of Heart as he seeks his revenge. You got Gil Kane and inked by Rico Rival. Never heard that name before. Not very familiar with that inker. He did an okay job. Certainly, I think if Gil Kane had time to do the inking himself, it would have been a better result. Because there's a lot of lines on these pages that I don't think Gil Kane's line, and it didn't fit very well. But here we go again, the very typical prototype Gil Kane pose falling backward. Good action panels, as you can see. What I meant, lines that really are not typical of Gil Kane line. This right here, this stuff. For those that are familiar with Gil Kane line, you probably would agree that there's a lot of things that easy to spot on Gil Kane and things that are not Gil Kane. As I mentioned in my earlier part of this video, I like Jack of Heart from the neck up, and then I'm not too crazy about the outfit. Beautiful drawing there by Gil Kane. These pages here that just go into the backstory of the origin of Jack of Heart. There, that's the death of his father right there. Then this is how he got his power, as you can see right there. The substance pour on him, and wham! How convenient. And this is where he decided on his Jack of Heart, as he picked up the playing cards, and then the costume. The fight sequence is decent. It's Gil Kane. You're not gonna have much to complain about as far as action scenes with Gil Kane, that you can see. But right there, this is what I'm talking about. This is why my complaint is right all through here. He's accusing White Tiger for the death of his father. Okay, and then as they fall off the building, he softened the blow. Because he have a change of heart. pun intended. And that's it. That's the end of the story. So there's the inside of that magazine. Next you have Fantastic Four 33, Attuma. I love this cover. Oh, incorporate in a photo. Awesome. Side by side with the Submariner. Look at that crazy looking monster. Sea creatures. I really like, I mean, for me, the early Jack Kirby work for the Fantastic Four is a hit or miss. Some issue is really good, as in this issue, and some it was not. I guess it's probably has to do more with the time crunch because Jack was doing crazy amount of work at this stage of early Marvel. So perhaps depend on the schedule and availability and time crunch. Some of the books I felt didn't turn out as well, but there's nothing to complain about as far as this book. There you go. And that's your first look at Attuma. Just look at that headgear. Love it. As you can see, this book is really beautiful white page. My kind of silver age. It's about a 7.5-ish. Perfect mid-grade copy for me. White page, nothing to complain about. Affordable. Here's a photograph that Kirby used. Plenty of action, that's for sure. I love these in-house ads, as you can see, with that X-Men 8. The next page contains one of my favorite Reed Richard transformation. There you go, look at that. That is I love that panel. It's awesome. Usually his transformation is okay or nothing special, but I love it when he's changed into they call it a giant stingray. This is awesome. Yeah, it's fun to see. I think someday when I have a chance to do a Jack Kirby artist spotlight, it will be fun to go through his transformation. Jack has always been really action-packed kind of artist with good dynamic in action scenes and panels, but when I go through these earlier FF books, for sure, even X-Men, he's still learning, he's still developing. So a lot of the action scenes, panels in these books are not the same as what we saw later, no doubt, just like that. Or that. They're still not the the powerful action that we grown to love from Jack. Not yet, not quite. As you can see, back in the early days of Marvel, Jack was pretty much, outside of the few full pages, and there's a lot of standard 6-panel square. And that's it. That's the end of the book. I hope you enjoyed this video, and thanks for watching. Bye bye.